Elementary trading algorithms are combined together through logical operators. They are described here. So logical operators are defined first. Then each of the logical operators in Trading Conceiver is explained. Finally, some examples of application are proposed. The output of trading algorithms consists basically of the information of where the algorithm is true, that is satisfied, or false, that is not satisfied. Elementary trading algorithms make no exception. Logical operators or Boolean operators take the output of such algorithms and combine them according to some rules specific to each operator. Such logic is called combinatorial. That's why we refer to the composition of trading algorithms as combination. The combination is equal to the output algorithm 1 processed through the logical operator with the output algorithm 2. The combination, that is the output of the operator, is still an algorithm, still consisting of true-false information. The various output algorithm n are called the inputs or arguments of the operator. Just to be clear with the nomenclature about input and output, in a chain of processing where each module makes some process and then gives the result to the next module for further processing, the output of the first module becomes the input of the second, but the data are exactly the same. In our case, the output of a trading algorithm is the input of the logical operator. Trading Conceiver implements the following logical operators: AND, OR, at least 2, at least 3. Remember that at threshold we must deal with intervals. At threshold, each elementary trading algorithm either is false, that is true in the empty set, or is true in an interval. At threshold, all the operators correspond to operations on intervals. That is, the output of each operator corresponds to a specific operation on the intervals where the single elementary algorithms are true. Then the Boolean value of the output, that is the result of the operator, is set to true if the result of the operation between the intervals result in a non-empty interval. It is set to false otherwise. The truth table of the AND logical operator is the following. If both inputs are false, the output is false. If one input is false and the other is true, the output is false. Again as before, if one input is false and the other is true, the output is false. If both inputs are true, then the output is true. What it means is that the only way to make the output true is to have both inputs true. If we combine together two elementary trading algorithms through an AND operator, the combination of the two algorithms is satisfied only if they are both satisfied. In all other cases, the combination is false, that is, not satisfied. If one of the two elementary trading algorithms is false, or both are, their combination is false, that is, not satisfied. The definition above holds for two inputs. It can be easily extended to the case of multiple inputs thanks to the associativity property of the Boolean AND operator, which states that we can AND together two inputs in any order and then AND the other inputs. If we need to AND three inputs, input 1, 2 and 3, we can AND input 1 and 2 first and then input 3, or, indifferently, we can AND input 2 and 3 first and then input 1. By ANDing multiple arguments together, parentheses are thus uninfluential. In this case, the output is true if and only if all three inputs are true. That is, we require that all three conditions must be met simultaneously in order for the output to be true. Or said another way, that if even one input is false, the output is false. The AND operator can be used to confirm a signal. It is known that it is a good practice to have multiple consistent signals given by different and independent methods in order to open or close a trade. When you want such confirmation, use the AND operator. At threshold, the AND corresponds to the intersection of intervals. that is, the output of the AND operation corresponds to the intersection of the intervals where the single elementary algorithms are true. The combination is equal to algo 1 and algo 2, which corresponds to algo 1 intersection algo 2. Here we propose two examples. In both, algo 1 is true in the interval AB and algo 2 is true in the interval CD. In the first example, the intersection of the intervals is the empty set. So the combination, that is, the algo 1 and algo 2 operation, is false. In the second example, the intersection is equal to the interval CB. So the combination, that is, algo 1 and algo 2, is true in the interval CB. The truth table of the OR logical operator is the following. If both inputs are false, the output is false. If one input is false and the other is true, the output is true. Again, as before, if one input is false and the other is true, the output is true. If both inputs are true, the output is true. What it means is that it is enough that just one of the inputs to be true in order for the output to be true. If we combine together two elementary trading algorithms through an OR operator, the combination of the two algorithms is satisfied if just one of them or both is true. In the other case, that is, if both the inputs are false, the output is false. The definition above holds for two inputs. It can be easily extended to the case of multiple inputs thanks to the associativity property of the Boolean OR operator, which states that we can OR together two inputs in any order and then OR the other inputs. So if we need to OR three inputs, input 1, 2 and 3, we can either OR input 1 and input 2 first and then OR input 3, or, indifferently, we can OR input 2 and input 3 first and then OR input 1. By ORing multiple arguments together, parentheses are thus uninfluential. In this case, the output is true if and only if at least one input is true. That is, we require that it is enough that just one condition is met in order for the output to be true. Or said another way, that the output is false only if all inputs are false. If you are considering multiple algorithms giving trading signals and you want to trade when just one of those signals is triggered, use the OR operator. This way you might open or close a position as soon as possible, without waiting for confirmation by other signals. At threshold, the OR operator corresponds to the union of intervals. That is, the output of the OR operation corresponds to the union of the intervals where the single elementary algorithms are true. The combination is equal to algo 1 or algo 2, which corresponds to algo 1 union algo 2. Here we propose two examples. In both examples, algo 1 is true in AB and algo 2 is true in CD. The combination is equal to algo 1 or algo 2. In the first example, the combination is true both in the interval AB and in the interval CD, so it is true in AB union CD. In example 2, the combination is true in the interval AD. Note that, like in the first example, an algorithm can be true not only in just one interval, but also in multiple intervals, or more formally in the union of intervals. In such cases, in the table, for simplicity, the union symbol is omitted. The proprietary at least two operator requires that at least two conditions must be satisfied between the ones selected as input in order to be true. In order to compute its output, the inputs with a true value are counted. If this count is greater than or equal to 2, then the output is true. So the number of true input is greater than or equal to 2 if and only if the output is true. Otherwise the output is false. So this operator is inherently a multi-value input and makes sense only for 3 or more inputs. In Trading Conceiver you can choose between 3 or 4 input elementary algorithms. The at-least-2 operator with just 2 inputs is equivalent to the AND operator. As the at-least operator is substantially slower, always prefer the AND operator in this case, argument 1 and argument 2. This operator is something between the AND and the OR operators. With the AND operator, you require that all conditions must be met. With the OR operator, you require it is enough that just one condition must be met. With the at-least-2 operator, you require that 2 conditions must be met, without caring which. This way you have a confirmation of the signals because at least 2 are consistent, which is safe, but are not waiting too long before trading, risking to be late, because you don't wait for all the signals to be consistent. If you want to consider a few conditions for opening or closing a trade and are looking for a compromise between staying safe and acting as soon as possible, consider using the at-least-2 operator. At threshold, the at-least-2 operator is true in those intervals where at least 2 algorithms are true. That is, the output is true where the number of intersecting input intervals is greater than or equal to 2. If there are no at least 2 intervals intersecting where the input is true, then the output is false. Said another way, the output is true if there are at least 2 non-disjoint intervals among the input algorithms where the inputs are true. Here we propose 2 examples, where algo 1 is true in AB, algo 2 is true in CD, algo 3 is true in EF, and algo 4 is true in GH. In the first example, we make the combination of algo 1 at least 2 algo 2 at least 2 algo 3. All the intervals are disjoint, so the combination is the empty set, that is, the combination is always false. In the second example, we make the combination algo 1 at least 2 algo 2 at least 2 algo 3 at least 2 algo 4. For each sub-interval, we count how many intervals intersect. We write the number of intersecting intervals here. Where this number is greater than or equal to 2, then the operator is true. So in this example, the combination is true in the interval CH. Here there are 2 intersecting intervals, and here there are 3 intersecting intervals. In all the other subintervals, there are no intervals, or just one. When in the same tab another operator is present in addition to the at-least-2 operator, all inputs, arguments, to the at-least-2 operator must be enclosed in parentheses. The proprietary at-least-3 operator is exactly like the at-least-2 operator, but requires that at least 3 conditions must be met. Refer to the previous paragraph with the following observations. This operator makes sense only for 4 or more inputs. In Trading Conceiver you must choose 4 input elementary algorithms, filling up all one tab. The at-least-3 operator with just 3 inputs is equivalent to the AND operator. As the at-least operator is substantially slower, always prefer the AND operator in this case, argument 1 and argument 2 and argument 3. This operator tends toward a safer side with respect to the at-least-2 operator because an extra confirmation is required. However, the signal will be given later. Let's suppose you want to enter a long position according to some conditions of your choice, but only when the market is uptrending in the long term. As an uptrend long-term indicator, you can select rate of change of moving average of simple moving average positive, and set the lookback input parameters according to what long means for you in this case. Then you end this algorithm with the one of your choice. It will act as a confirmation signal. In the example, you can see the short-term algorithm giving long signals even when the long-term trend is negative, which is bad, because they would probably lead to losing trades. The long-term signal is false, and by ending the algorithms together, the overall signal is false. Thus, you correctly ignore the short-term signals in this phase of the market. Other examples are presented in the chapter Algorithms from Base Indicators. Suppose you want to liquidate a long position as soon as possible when the market trend changes. You spotted some conditions that you like and want to liquidate as soon as the first condition signaling to liquidate is satisfied. You can OR those conditions together. One of the two conditions is satisfied well before the other, and the overall signal is given right away without waiting for the late signal. Suppose you pinpointed 4 algorithms you like to follow and you trust them the same way. You can open a long position when 2 of them are true, confirming each other, without waiting for all 4 conditions to be met, which could happen too late. So you can use the at least 2 operator. In the example, you can see that one of the algorithms gives the signal before all the others, which might prove wrong. It's only when a second signal gives its approval that the at least 2 becomes true, and you can open a long position. At a certain point, all conditions are satisfied, but that comes after a while, and that could cause an overdue sign with loss of profit. By using the same algorithms as in the previous example, we can see the differences by applying the at least 3 operator. Notice how the signal is given later than in the case of the at least 2 operator, but gives a safer signal.